So anyway, because of my experience in public affairs, when we turned in our papers to go on a mission and they saw our church experience, guess what they called us to? Called us as public affairs missionaries in England. And our assignment was for the Eastern or Western Europe area. And the headquarters was in Solihull, England. Our first assignment was to be the executive secretary of the London Key City Committee, the London Key City Public Affairs Committee. And so we lived in London for 5 months and supported and organized activities and all kinds of things for the executive secretary of two men who eventually became area presidents, general authorities, and others who were prominent in the church there in the London area, and we were their executive secretary. But then we got called into the area office in Solihull, and our job was to travel and train in the whole UK area, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and all over England, where we traveled and trained public affairs stake leaders and country leaders in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and also in England. So we traveled a lot, and it was a wonderful experience going around the UK. And our expenses were paid by the church public affairs committee department. So we had a lot of fun. During that time, I had the feeling that I had to figure out how Elder Merrill did so well with the prospective elders down in the South Pacific. And so in my spare time, I got to be good at PowerPoint, and I put together a pilot project for reaching out to prospective elders using Elder Merrill's program. And when we got to Solihull, I presented that to the area presidency, and they liked the idea and assigned the executive secretary, excuse me, of the area presidency to work with me on perfecting that, and we ended up sending that out, that PowerPoint presentation on activating prospective elders, to 400 stakes in the West Europe area. So that was, we actually ended up at 9 o'clock the night before we left our mission, sending out those CDs to all those 400 stakes in their little slots. We also had occasion to be in charge of a program called Helping Hands that was organized by the Hong Kong Bank Group, and they were the sponsors, but they asked everybody in England to get involved in doing service projects on this given Saturday, and we were in charge of organizing the church for that. And other than the Hong Kong Bank employees, the church was typically the #1 participants in that, and they got recognized in London for doing that. Sue was the chairman, and of course I was her executive assistant, and we did a lot of the work in promoting that program, and got an increased number of LDS participants in that on that Saturday work week, Helping Hands Day. We went to London one time to get recognized in their meeting and met some people that were Jews that told us an interesting story. This Jewish lady had constant communication with the spirit world, her grandfather, she'd said, and she was intrigued by Joseph Smith's story and wanted to know more about it because she had that kind of divine or direct communication with the spirit world. And we listened to her and her grandfather talk, and he told her things that have now since come true. For some reason, they had access to information for the future. They told him to sell their business, which was an advertising agency, and get into oil. Well, after that, oil prices went to over $100 a barrel, and whoever was into oil became extremely wealthy. And he told them to get out of that part of the world because things were going to explode over there, and the Middle East would be on fire, and that it was not safe, and that a war would begin there, and that they needed to be in Wyoming, safest place in the United States, right next to Utah, of course, because the attacks on the West Coast and the attacks on the East Coast would never reach Wyomings. He told them to get there. They sold their business and did that. It was amazing. I don't know where they are now, but they sold their business and got into oil. I know that. And probably living on a beach someplace, and not in Wyoming, I don't think. So we were public affairs missionaries over there. Got a chance to do some activation work with the area presidency. Elder Zwick, Elder Peterson were some of the elders that were over there that we got close to, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. We had dinners with them in their homes, and it was just a phenomenal opportunity.